Hi, my name's Alex Richards. I'm Director of the Western Training Provider Network. I'm here to do a presentation on the first day of the Jobs and Skills Summit, and it's an introduction to apprenticeships. So what are apprenticeships? Okay, lots of things have changed in the past. This presentation today is going to be a bit of a myth-busting exercise, but we need to get to the basics first. So an apprenticeship basically is a job. So you'll be working, but at the same time you're studying at the same time. So it could be, so it's the best of both worlds, really. It could be your very first job, so access to the job market when you're younger. It could be that you want to switch careers, and an apprenticeship is there and it's available to you to actually move into a new career, learn and earn at the same time. Or it could be that you're actually in a position in work where you want to progress up to another level, and an apprenticeship is there that you could do it so you're working and studying to move up through the levels. So it's available to all ages and all people. So you're definitely working, you're definitely doing a job, you're working for at least 30 hours a week, you're studying for job related qualifications, and that's really key. Apprenticeships these days they are designed and they're designed by employers for employers. It's the most contemporary qualifications out there. These are qualifications where they're saying, this is what we want as employers. These are where the jobs are out there. We want to be training people up in these jobs. We want to make sure that people are skilled up in these skills. These are the jobs of the future. Loads and loads of benefits with apprenticeships. So, like any other job, you get things like a contract of employment, you get holiday pay, so all sorts of benefits. But I suppose the key thing is the best of both worlds. What you're doing is you're working and you're learning at the same time. But it is though a real job with real responsibilities. So employers are training you up to do a real job. You've got loads of responsibilities. If you're new into the workplace or you're trying to get an apprenticeship, they are trying to hire the best person, so they can be competitive to get. Okay, so let's bust a few myths straight away. So definitely earning a salary. So apprentices get paid. 90% stay in work after the post the apprenticeship. So in the past, there were sort of people did think it was a bit of a training contract, and sometimes apprentices weren't always taken on at the end of it. But these days, employers are investing in you. They want you to train up. They're spending money on hiring, and they're spending money on making sure that you're mentored properly, that you've got that support in the workplace. They don't want you to leave. They're working hard to make sure that apprenticeship works really, really well for you, and they want you to develop. What they also find is that anyone who does an apprenticeship, because they've got that opportunity to work and they've got that opportunity to study as well, so they're developing themselves, apprentices actually stay with employers a lot longer. The retention rate is really, really good. So employers are keen to develop people as apprentices because it gets them to stay there a long time. It's investing in the workforce. Is there a social life? Well, it's not quite like university or college, so it's not where you're doing a few hours in the week, but you might join sports and clubs and that sort of stuff. You are working for the business, so you're working all week, but you can go out at the weekends. Obviously, you can go out in the evenings, and you've got pay. So you've got pay in your pay packet as well, so you can go out and enjoy yourself. You can even gain a degree via an apprenticeship as well. So, like I said, lots of change with them with apprenticeships in the last few years. Lots of universities now deliver degree apprenticeships, and you can study as an apprentice, work as an apprentice, and gain a degree at the same time. And there are no fees to pay whatsoever. So all apprenticeships, to the learner, to anybody who's doing it, to the apprentice, are completely free. They're paid for by the employer and the government. You can even relocate. So there's lots of young people perhaps thinking, I want to get away from home after school. University is a good way to do that. Want to fly the nest. You can even do that with apprenticeship as well. So there's people that are leaving school after A levels. They see an apprenticeship opportunity in another part of the country. They might apply for it and secure it, and they can move there. And the salary can be enough to allow them the chance to actually relocate to another part of the country. So that's an option as well. Really key to know that apprenticeships are not the easy route. So it's not something just a second choice. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Let's just do an apprenticeship. You've got to work hard to get them. Employers, like I said, are after the best people. It's a competitive process. Once you're on it, you're working and you're studying at the same time. You need to be committed. So the range of apprenticeships, so these have changed dramatically as well over the last few years. Like I said, employers are designing them. There's just hundreds of new sectors which have been developed in, hundreds and hundreds of new apprenticeships. So in the past, it might have been some of the traditional industries which you would think of. So aerospace, it might have been, or engineering, or it might have been, construction. Those are the traditional industries which you've always seen apprenticeships associated with. Very, very much, very, very different these days. They're still there. Those industries have been developed. Those apprenticeships have been developed in those industries and are even more modern these days. But there's things like accounting and creative and digital and cyber security, dental nursing. There's loads and loads of new apprenticeships which have been developed by employers. In fact, there's hundreds of new ones. Really exciting for anybody seeking an apprenticeship. Which employers are involved? Okay, so these are household names you may have seen around and about. Not long ago, just a few years ago, many of these were actually just graduate-only employers. Employers are now, the larger employers now, there's an apprenticeship levy which is encouraging them to take on apprentices. So loads and loads of new employers have joined the apprenticeship market, and there's lots and lots of opportunities out there available for all sorts of people to join a company by an apprenticeship route. There's also loads and loads of SMEs, so smaller to medium-sized enterprises, which you probably you've never heard of, which deliver apprenticeships and encourage people to join there by the apprenticeship route. So let's have a look inside of a company. So sometimes you may think that there's a finance company out there and all they do is finance apprenticeships, or a construction company out there, all they do is construction apprenticeships. But actually, any large company out there, any medium-sized company out there, could have a multiple range of roles which are available, which you didn't even realise. So let's choose a finance company. You may think finance is the only route in, but you could do sales or data analytics. You could do marketing. You could do legal. Any department in that company could potentially have an apprenticeship available for you. So scratching beneath the surface for any business which has got multiple departments out there, there could be all sorts of apprenticeship opportunities within there. So what are the levels? Okay, so certainly at the higher level, these have grown dramatically in the last few years as well. Let's look and sort of try to sort of measure it up against what we know the levels are in normal education. So level 2 is like GCSEs, level 3 is like A levels, 4 is like HNC, 5 is like HND, 6 is like a degree, and 7 is like a master's. Slightly different for this, slightly different for apprenticeships. For levels 4 to 7, you could do a higher apprenticeship and there's no degree within that. But you can do a level 6, which is a degree, foundation, just a normal degree, or you could do a 7, like it's a master's degree. It's delivered by a university, and within that apprenticeship, there's actually a degree qualification within there, or a master's qualification in there. So that's how they work, and it's a fantastic opportunity because people could be in the workplace. They could be doing, say, a level 3 apprenticeship and actually move up the levels, ultimately getting themselves a degree or a master's degree. And this is completely free and funded. Now, one thing to note for young people leaving schools, quite often people think that if they were to leave, say, after A levels, which are around about level 3, moving into a level 3 apprenticeship is a sideways move. It's definitely not. They are very, very different apprenticeships because it's about the workplace, it's about the skills you're learning in work, very, very different than a theory course. And many, many employers are looking to hire those sort of school leavers, A-level leavers, but they know that an advanced level apprenticeship, like a level 2, is a fairly junior role, which you would move into. Definitely not a sideways move, it's just different. Once you're in that role, then you can move up through the levels. And all apprentices are assessed on their ability when they graduate to have the right skills, knowledge, and behaviours in that apprenticeship standard. So how do you do your learning? Many people ask that. So you've got your job, you do your apprenticeship. So how do you do your learning? Well, the great thing is that at least 20% of your time that you're working, you're allowed to study and you're paid for that. Now, employers sometimes think, well, that's time off the job. But what they do realise, and what you're finding with apprenticeship employers, they're finding that investment in learning and in that time is really making a difference with those apprentices in terms of their development of skills. So you are delivered learning, and you're delivered by a training provider, a college, or a university, and they work in partnership with the employer. So there's different methods for this. Sometimes it's quite a traditional method for perhaps a college could be, and certainly in the technical occupations where you need to do sort of hands-on learning, the apprentice might leave the workplace and go once a week to the college to actually learn that hands-on learning, that practical stuff. There's also workplace learning. So some providers, including colleges and independent training providers, will do almost all the work, all the learning in the workplace, but you would be taken away from your workstation to make sure that you get that time to learn properly. Some businesses actually have classrooms within them, so you could go off and learn there. Almost all of the training which is out there at the moment is complemented by online learning, and you can imagine in the last year of the pandemic, this previous year or so, that there's a lot being moved online. So what we're finding now is apprenticeships are delivered really, really well in that blended way. So there's online learning, and there's that practical application as well, where you're meeting people at the same time, you're meeting your teachers at the same time. So how do apprenticeships compare to full-time university? And this is specifically around the higher and the degree level apprenticeships. How do they compare? Well, it's almost polar opposites. So if you go to university to do a degree, you'll be doing around about 16 hours contact time a week, where you'll be getting lectures, or you'll be speaking to tutors in your tutorials. And the rest of the time, you've got some free time, generally for study, or you might be joining clubs, you might have a part-time job, or you're going out with friends and experiencing life. With a degree apprenticeship, you are working all week. So you're producing goods or services for your employer. 20% of that time is dedicated to the study that you're going to do, but you will have to find extra time to do that study on top of that, maybe into the evenings and weekends as well. So it's around about 4 to 6 years to do a degree apprenticeship. So it's a longer period of time, and it is difficult. We have heard of apprentices, they're doing degree apprenticeship, they say, God, it's really, really difficult. I'm working, I'm learning, doing a degree part-time on the top of it. What employers are saying is that those degree apprentices, they're learning the theory and then they're just putting it into practice straight away. So the development is really, really fast, really fast. So if you want to get on in a career, then this is a way to really move up through the gears really quickly. So you're learning, you're earning a salary, no debt whatsoever. You can still do things like join the National Union of Students. There's the experience of the workplace, so that work experience. And sometimes you can even meet cohorts of other degree apprentices when you're going off to your university, around about 4 to 6 years. There's 100+ universities which are delivering degree apprenticeship. No fees whatsoever. So how about vacancies? Are there apprenticeship vacancies out there? Well, this is really starting to grow again now. As we're coming out of the pandemic, there are more and more vacancies available. So this was taken and the postcode was put in around sort of the Southampton-Avonmouth area. So within 5 miles of that, 150 vacancies were available today. And this was on Friday in the first week of July. Within 10 miles, 306 vacancies. 15 miles, 363, 20 miles, 427 vacancies. So vacancies are really growing in the region. At any day, there's hundreds out there available. Okay, so let's just have a few. Let's see what's available. So this was available on Friday. And just to give you a range, have a look at the range of some of the vacancies available. Data software analyst, a modern role, a higher apprenticeship, £14,000 to £16,000 a year. A brewer, apprentice brewer, higher apprenticeship, up to £17,000 a year. Teaching assistant, almost £8,000 a year. It's an advanced apprenticeship. Chef, between £7,000 and £14,000 a year. Intermediate apprenticeship. Dental nurse, international freight import clerk. So some really, really different and modern roles available. And like I said, there's hundreds available at the moment. So thinking about vacancies, thinking about where you might want to get an apprenticeship, few key things to remember. There isn't one deadline, so apprenticeships are available all year long. There's a few times in the year when there might be more available. So the larger companies who are looking for school leavers around about starting their hiring processes from sort of September to just after Christmas. And they're really trying to get some of the best candidates out there. And that process could take quite a long time to get through it. Others, they're waiting at the end of the academic year to pick up the students who are leaving. But there's employers who want apprentices all year round of any age. So there can be vacancies available all year round. But they're also advertising in different places. So it's not like, say, a UCAS system where you would go through and you would look at vacancies in one place. They can be all over. Vacancies can be advertised in all different sorts of places. So you need to sign up to sites, manage alerts, keep researching. Entry requirements will differ, and they'll vary. So as you can imagine, if you're starting a level 2 apprenticeship, then there's going to be different entry requirements if you're trying to apply for a degree apprenticeship. So definitely entry requirements will vary for every apprenticeship. And the application process will vary as well. So some of them are quite straightforward in terms of you apply online, they like your application, they invite you in for an interview, and you could be the winner amongst a number of candidates. Like I said, it'll be competitive. But some of the larger graduate employers who generally who are looking for apprentices, they might have a process which might last 3 or 4 months. And there's a number of ways that you'll be in contact with them, sometimes in competition with others. You'll be trying to prove your skills and show that you're the right fit for that business. So every application process can vary in a slight way. How do you find apprenticeships? So there's a variety of methods, but luckily there's one main place where vacancies are put. Certainly for the smaller and medium-sized businesses and some of the larger ones, it's called Find an Apprenticeship. And you can register on there, you can do loads of research on there, you can search and apply. So search for different vacancies, then apply for them online. You can even manage alerts, so you can think, I want to be a software developer. There wasn't a vacancy on that day. You can put in the alert for it and it will contact you when they come available in your area. And then once you've done all research, once you know what you want to do, you made your applications, you can even contact those companies and say, look, I'm hoping to be an apprentice. I've made an application. What else can I do to move this forward? So a few things to remember about Find an Apprenticeship site. It is a live job site. So one day you might go on, there might be 50 vacancies, the next day 100, or the next day 25. They change regularly as those vacancies are filled. So it's something you want to, if you're really, really serious about getting that apprenticeship, it's something you want to follow on a regular basis to see what comes up. But there are loads of jobs, loads of apprenticeships on lots of other sites. Things like Indeed, things like Not Going to Uni, lots of other sites. Even the UCAS site has a degree apprenticeship vacancies available. So there's lots of other jobs on lots of other sites. And new jobs get added throughout the year. As I was saying, it's not just in the academic year, they're throughout the year, there's vacancies available for people of all different ages. What we would suggest is don't just apply for one and expect to get it. That may not be the case. And any job seeker out there will tell you when they're a little bit older, they may have applied for 10 or 15 jobs before they got the one they wanted. So apply for lots of vacancies and see how you get on. Where else can you look? Okay, so there's a few other places you can look at. So some of the largest companies out there, they don't put them on Find an Apprenticeship because they get so many applications. These are sort of companies where people are really specific about wanting to join that company. So as you see below, it might be Google or something like that, where they'll get thousands of applications. So sometimes if you want a specific company, you may want to look on their website and it will tell you how to do the apprenticeship application. Social media, you might want to follow a company, see when they start hiring. Friends and family, there's lots of apprentices out there who started their first role because someone told them of someone they know who's hiring an apprentice. Still got to go through the recruitment process, but quite often it's who you know. And then finally at the bottom, vacancy snapshot. That's on Amazing Apprenticeships website. It's really, really helpful. They've got some of the largest businesses in the country. They tell you how they do their recruiting, when they recruit, what sort of processes you've got to go through to get successful with them. It's a good site, good to have a look at. And there's just a glimpse of some of the things that Amazing Apprenticeships do. Loads of resources on there, specifically designed for sort of children, school children, teachers, post-16 school children and college students teachers and parents as well. So lots and lots of great resource on there. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Whistle stop tour on apprenticeships. We're going to have a live feed on any questions. We can answer them for you. We also have, if there's parents out there or residents out there who've got a small business who are thinking of taking on an apprentice, the West of England Apprenticeship Service that we run, which is sponsored and funded by the Combined Authority, also helps smaller businesses to match them up to training providers and colleges and help them to find apprentices for the future. Great. Thanks ever so much for listening. Hope that was helpful. Hope that was a good eye opener and busted some myths all about apprenticeships. Thank you.